committee time to discuss the issue before we vote. Okay, pardon me? Did I say 9:45? That's 9:45. Right? Are there any objections to that with the committee? Okay, perfect. That's the plan then. All right, so Senator Nichols, if you would like to come up and obviously introduce yourself and start your presentation.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair Zito and committee. For the record, my name is Senator Tammy Nichols from District 10, and I'm presenting Senate Bill 1282 for you today. Senate Bill 1282 addresses a product that is already legal and already being sold in Idaho. Kratom is a plant-derived supplemental product related to the coffee plant and has been used in the United States for at least 30 years. Today, an estimated 24 million Americans use Kratom. Because this product is already in the marketplace and widely used, the responsibility before us is to ensure that there are clear, reasonable standards that protect the public and provide accountability. So how is Kratom typically used? Well, Kratom comes from the dried leaves of a tropical tree. It is most traditional and common form by being grounded into a powder made from the dried leaves, mixed into water or juice and consumed as a drink, brewed into a tea, or sold in capsules containing powdered leaf. It is not typically smoked, injected, or used in the same manner as illicit drugs. The most common form in the U.S. marketplace is simply ground leaf powder. Some products on the market include extracts, and more recently there have been concerns about highly concentrated or chemically altered products, which is what this legislation specifically addresses. In simple terms, Kratom is typically consumed as a ground leaf powder mixed into a drink or taken in a capsule form, similar to many other plant-based supplements. Why do people use Kratom? Well, people report using Kratom for a wide range of personal reasons, including energy and alertness, focus and productivity, stress management and relaxation, physical comfort and general wellness, and for some as part of an effort to reduce or move away from opioid use. This legislation does not promote or endorse use. It simply recognizes that Kratom is already lawfully used by millions of adults, and public policy should focus on product integrity and consumer protection. So why do we need this piece of legislation? Well, in its natural leaf form, Kratom contains a naturally occurring alkaloid profile with only trace amounts of 7-hydroxymitragine, which is also called 7-OH. The concerns we are seeing nationally are not with the traditional natural leaf Kratom. The concerns are with the chemically altered or artificially concentrated products, particularly those engineered to elevate 7-OH levels far beyond what occurs naturally. Recent FDA actions have focused specifically on high-potency 7-OH product, not natural leaf Kratom. And Senate Bill 1282 reflects that same distinction by targeting altered and adulterated products while preserving natural plant materials. This legislation was requested by stakeholders and Idahoans, including responsible businesses that want uniform standards and a clear line separating legitimate products from unsafe ones. So what 1282 establishes is clear consumer protection frameworks for Idaho, preserves access to natural leaf Kratom, prohibits adulterated, synthetic, or artificially enhanced Kratom products, clearly distinguishing natural plant materials from concentrated 7-OH derivatives, requires limited third-party laboratory testing to verify product integrity, establishes an age restriction for purchase, and clarifies supply chain roles so accountability applies to processors, distributors, and manufacturers. This approach focuses on transparency, product integrity, and public safety. To date, approximately 19 other states have adopted some sort of Kratom Consumer Protection Act or similar regulatory framework. However, many earlier versions did not directly address the emerging issues of concentrated 7-OH products. So 1282 incorporates the lessons that have been learned from those states and reflects one of the most updated and comprehensive models currently being considered, specifically addressing high-potency derivatives while maintaining a measured and a limited regulatory structure. In your packet today, you will find a few different pieces of information we've included, which includes a policy brief summarizing the structure and intent of this legislation, a one-page explanation detailing why concentrated 7-OH is not natural kratom, a fact sheet addressing common areas of misinformation circulating online, and a summary of the Johns Hopkins survey of approximately 2,700 kratom users, providing insight into real-world usage patterns, and also a letter from Dr. Boyer. These materials are included to support an informed discussion grounded in data and clear distinctions and may be referenced throughout this hearing today. I also want to yield some of my time, Madam Vice Chair Zito, to Matt Caddo from the National Kratom Association, and he will also be available to answer questions as we proceed through this hearing. Is that all right, Madam Chair?
That'll be fine. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. If you would introduce yourself and who you represent and where you're from.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Mac Haddo. I serve as the Senior Fellow in Public Policy for the American Kratom Association, which is based in Gainesville, Virginia. About 45 years ago, I served in the Utah legislature at a similar position as you sit here today, listening to witnesses like me. And in one of those occasions, the witness stepped up and said, if there's anything that I say that doesn't make any sense, please ask me. And he explained that his wife had told him he didn't make any sense half the time. My wife thinks that number is a little higher. So if anything I say is confusing or doesn't make sense, please ask me to clarify. The key issue that Senator Nichols identified with kratom products is the product safety and the integrity of those products. Natural does not mean safe. We all know that. In the case of kratom, the most important thing is that product formulations that are available to consumers are safe. That's done through a variety of restrictions. For example, no kratom product should be allowed to be extracted into a more concentrated form that doesn't use limiting FDA-approved food-grade solvents. There are more than 100 companies that we have referred, our association has referred to the FDA for violating that standard, and the FDA has been aggressive in enforcing it. They also should meet good manufacturing standards. It is important to limit the amount of 7-hydroxymetrogenine, or 7-OH, in the products, and there are 19 states that have passed similar legislation as to what you have before you today. And from the very start, prior to the introduction of 7-OH products, we recognized that in the natural product that there should not be greater than 2% of the overall alkaloid fraction or 1 milligram of 7-OH in any serving, because that's the naturally occurring trace levels of 7-OH that occur in the natural plant. Anything above that is synthetic, has been manipulated chemically in order to strengthen its potency, and it poses significant risks. And as Senator Nichols says, the FDA and the Department of Health and Human Services held a press conference on July 29th of 25, indicating that they were referring 7-OH to the DEA for Schedule I classification, and that they were not focused on natural leaf kratom products. That has not always been the case, frankly, with the FDA. It's been an evolving situation where the regulators at the FDA are not happy about dietary supplements in general or botanical supplements, but it's been an evolving learning process for them. For example, today, if you ask the FDA, and it was referenced in the July 29, 25 press conference, the kratom deaths are rare. And when they do occur, it's because of polydrug use or adulterated kratom products. There's always the possibility of an underlying health condition. But polydrug use are people that are using illicit prescription drugs, and Johns Hopkins University has published studies that kratom has helped people get off of those illicit drugs, which accounts for why people may have kratom being detected in an autopsy following a death. None of us like the idea that anyone dies, and certainly not from a product that they're ingesting. And so this has been a focus of the FDA in examining the cause of death for kratom products. they have determined through their adverse event reporting system, and every kratom death is evaluated by the FDA. They decide whether or not there's a cluster of deaths that requires them to take appropriate enforcement action. It has been their conclusion that kratom deaths are rare. Polydrug use, adulterated products, which is the cause of it, which accounts for why the current FDA position is that kratom products properly formulated are not their focus. The FDA conducted what's called an FDA dose finding study. Now, that's a human study, studying at various levels of kratom ingestion, what's the effect. They were looking for a serious adverse event. In order to conduct a human study, they had to have a basis to determine that it wasn't going to kill you if they did this ascending dose study. They started at 1 gram. Usually 1 to 2 grams is the normal dose or serving size of a kratom product. They kept escalating it. They finally got to, and this is a human trial, by the way, 40 participants. They had a placebo group and a kratom group. They were testing within 5 minutes with all the vital signs of the participants in the study. They got to 12 grams, which is a huge amount of kratom, not typically ingested, and certainly not within 5 minutes. And then they saw a minor adverse event of nausea present in both the placebo and the kratom cohorts, accounting for why you might get nausea if you consume that much plant material in a 5-minute period. They then terminated the study and proceeded to what's now called a human abuse potential study, which will probably take another 3 years. Importantly, the key consumer protections are that you have product controls, and that's done in this bill, that you have appropriate labeling restrictions, that's done in this bill, and that you have age restrictions. The American Kratom Association is an advocate for these kinds of regulations. We do not represent the industry. We're not popular with many parts of the kratom industry because we advocate for these restrictions. But the bottom line is it's about consumer protection. Here in the state of Idaho, you have some of the finest kratom producers and manufacturers that provide to, on a national basis, kratom consumers who are able to safely consume products because of the confidence in the restrictions that those companies adhere to. They are the champions of this industry, and there are 24 million people in America who consume kratom products, and they do so safely. You will hear occasionally outliers of people claiming that kratom was the cause of death, and they will provide an autopsy. The Centers for Disease Control did a study in 2019 of 151 deaths from medical examiners and coroners that showed that kratom was present or detected. Of those, they said that 91 were by the medical examiner as the principal cause of death. When they examined them, only 7 were the cause of death to metrogeny intoxication. And of those 7, they then did more sophisticated testing where blood was available from the decedent. 4 of the 7 were. And when they used more sophisticated equipment, they found that all were polydrug use. So we want to be vigilant here. We want to protect consumers, and we want, where reports are made about various adverse events or deaths, that they are appropriately evaluated and the real cause of death, because every family deserves the truth, as do regulators, to understand exactly what the cause is. And with that, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, I'll conclude, and certainly available for any questions for anything that it might have said that didn't make any sense.
Thank you. It sounded like it made sense to me. Senator Nichols, did you want to come back up? And then committee, if you have any questions for either one of them?
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Yeah, we'll take any questions at this time if there are any, but I know there's a lot of people that have signed up to testify, so it might be best to just
Want
get
to
through
wait until
those
after?
first, and then we can
We
take
can
it
do
after.
that.
Okay.
All right. We'll
Madam
go to
Vice Chair, can I just have a quick
Oh,
clarification?
absolutely.
Just-
Senator Cole.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, sir. You said in 2019, the study showed 91 deaths. The primary cause was kratom in the system from the study?
Of the 91 that were reported by medical examiners and coroners I think there were 31 states involved in the study by the CDC, they were listed as one of the principal causes of death. There are other substances in each one, metrogeny and intoxication. That was the conclusion of the medical examiner. We've since evaluated many autopsies and found that there were mistakes made, poorly constructed postmortem investigations that led to the same conclusion the CDC came to. And what the CDC said, there needs to be a national standard for how we conduct these postmortem investigations. Otherwise, we'll continue to get these false reports. we actually sued a coroner with a parent in Ohio, and they had determined that metrogeny intoxication was the cause of death. And once they were forced to produce the evidence, they say, really don't have it, so they changed it to undetermined. But it's sort of the cause célèbre to call kratom if it's detected in this. You'll probably hear from someone here, a critic, that says that there were 5 children hospitalized in the state of Georgia from metrogeny or kratom. And all of the emergency room doctors, I think there were 4 involved, said it was kratom. When tested, they found out that it was actually candy dots ingested too quickly that caused nausea, dizziness, and diarrhea. Those were the symptoms they presented, and the emergency room doctors, I assume in good faith, said it was kratom. They concluded it was kratom, but it's because of misinformation.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a follow-up? Okay, all right, we'll go to our testifiers then. Tia Risticki, did I get that right?
Close, very
For
close.
being here today.
My name is Tia Stacey, and I'm from a resident of Meridian, Idaho. I did give you guys copies of a response to a petition from the DEA. My coroner also issued a report, and then some poison control reports. Thank you for your time. I'm here to oppose Senate Bill 1282. My perspective comes from a loss no parent should ever experience. On Sunday, I have the 1-year death of my daughter. My daughter Kylie died March 1st, 2025. She was only 23. Because she was so young, they had to do an investigation. After the autopsy and toxicology screen was performed, my drodgenin overdose was determined to be the factor of death. Kylie trusted the word natural. She used natural kratom powder. She believed it was safe to use for pain, because that's how the industry markets it. She was not using extracts or 7-OH products. The leaf itself killed her. No other substance were found in her tox screen, and she was not a polydrug user. My drodgenin and 7-OH both bind to the same opioid receptors as morphine. The idea that natural powder is harmless, while only certain extracts are dangerous, is not supported by what is happening in real families. Both forms are taking lives. States that pass KCPA continues to see addiction, poison control calls, emergency room visits, and kratom-related deaths. It does not place meaningful caps on potency. It does not control online sales. Local agencies have no practical way to enforce it. And banning 7-OH alone does not solve the problem, because my drodgenin naturally converts into 7-OH inside the body. Idaho has reported 83 kratom-involved deaths between 2020 and 2024. Bonneville County Coroner Sanchez put out a public safety warning in November 2025. She recorded 6 deaths within 18 months. 4 were from my drodgenin alone. 1 was my daughter. These deaths are mirroring what other states are seeing, especially as kratom becomes more available in small shops and gas stations. The industry is already developing new derivatives like MGM-15 and MGM-16. A full ban is the only approach that closes loopholes and keeps opioid-acting substances out of our community. I know bans are not an easy decision, but I know what it's like to stand in my daughter's empty room and wonder how something sold as a natural herb destroyed her life. I am asking you to oppose Senate Bill 1282 so no family has to learn the lessons through the loss of a child, parent, spouse, or friend. Last week when I was sitting in Senator Nichols' office, I asked you if you were okay with your kids taking kratom, and she says, no, I have warned them about the use of kratom, so I guess it's not as safe as they say. Thank you for taking the time and listening and putting the safety of our residents first.
Thank you. Are there any questions? All right, thank you. Thank you for, okay, our next is Ryan. Okay, there will be 2 minutes for testimony. So our next testifier is Ryan, I'm going to murder the name, Rasiski.
He would be
Online.
virtually.
Ryan, can you hear us? All right, we will move on to the next testifier and see if we can pick him up in a little bit. Christopher Theodonis? Thank you, Christopher. You have 2 minutes if you'll introduce yourself to the committee, and thank you for being here.
Sounds good. Good morning, Madam Chair and Senators. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I support the Kratom Consumer Protection and Safety Act S 1282. My name is Christopher Diotis. I'm 43 years old, Meridian resident, father of 2, and founder of Happy Hippo. We are a national e-commerce Kratom vendor. Between our family of health and wellness companies, we employ over 100 people. Business aside, this issue is very important to me. I have been a daily Kratom consumer for over 20 years. In 2005, I fully ruptured my left patellar tendon, MCL, and PCL. The post-surgical protocol required opioids, physical therapy for nearly 10 months. For a year and a half, I was addicted to opioids. The things that were important to me, family, friends, fitness, faith, and studying for law school at the time stopped being important. Thankfully, I found Kratom. I still use Kratom to this very day for chronic back pain and for that very same knee injury. I have never experienced Kratom to be intoxicating or incapacitating. I'm able to manage multiple businesses, a family foundation, stay physically active, and fulfill my duties as a husband and a father while using Kratom on a daily basis. Without finding Kratom 20 years ago, my life goes in a very different direction. That is my story and the story of so many others. Kratom helps a lot of people. And I wanted to quickly address those in attendance. Many of the people in this room here today are here because Kratom has helped them or helped someone they care about. If that is true for you, I would politely ask you to briefly stand so the committee can see how many lives are represented here. Thank you very much. And thank you, Chairman Nichols, Vice Chairman Zito, esteemed committee members for your consideration. I respectfully ask for your support of the Kratom Consumer Protection and Safety Act. This one means a lot to me.
Okay, thank you for your time. Wait just 1 second, are there any questions?
Yes, Madam Vice Chair. Thank you so much for your testimony. You've been using Kratom for 20 years now. Would you say that you're addicted to it?
There is at times.
Through the chair?
I'm sorry.
You need to go through the chair. That's how we do it in committee. So, Mr.
Diotis.
Diotis, now you can answer his question.
Senator, I've taken various serving sizes throughout those 20 years. I would say there is a dependence potential if you exceed the recommended serving sizes. I have found that out on my own. But as studied at the University of Florida, it's concluded that the withdrawal that you could experience is closer to that of a common cold unless it is heavily abused.
Have a follow-up, Senator Taylor? Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Senator.
All right, our next testifier is, do you want to try this? We'll try the first one again. We'll try Ryan again.
Hopefully you can hear me.
Hi, Ryan, we can hear you. If you'll introduce yourself to the committee, and you have 2 minutes.
Yes. Hello, my name is Ryan Ristisi, and I apologize for the inconvenience on the audio. Thank you for taking my time. I know my time is limited, so I'm going to speak fast here today. First off, the gentleman that came up and spoke, his weight is definitely paid in gold. You can see where he lies at. I didn't hear a PhD behind his name, and I take offense, very much offense, to hear him say that there was underlying cause of polyuser. My daughter was not. She never used any illegal drugs. She never even was using any prescription drugs. She died by taking a leaf because they were selling it as a natural product. So I'm just going to say some things real fast. Again, I apologize about the time here, but this is something that we as Idahoans need to take further investigation at. I don't think the panel realized that a lot of this stuff is made locally in garages because there's no regulation. My daughter, she was informed this, and I actually went after she died. I went to the same store and recorded a video of what transpired and what the salespeople are saying. They're saying the same thing. It's a natural product. Nobody ever died from it. They've even used the word. It's like marijuana. You can't die from that. You know, we as Idahoans have always stated that this type of drug use would not be tolerated, and I just take so much offense from that gentleman. That is just not, you know, the way to do it. Are we going to take money from lobbyists and our standards are going to go down? Or are we going to protect our children and our family from this stuff? You know, I just don't understand. I've researched Kratom. I've studied it as well. And there are other states that he forgot to mention that outlawed this stuff. And we, as Idahoans, should take that into effect. What do we need to do to stop this stuff?
Okay,
I don't
Ryan.
understand. To me, it's
Ryan?
crazy. If there was a poison out there, would we market it as
Ryan?
Idahoans because we make it? No, we would protect people.
Mr. Rosticki,
we-
your time is up.
All right, thank
We
you.
appreciate your testimony today. Thank you for being here. Okay, our next testifier will be James Dublin. Are you in the audience or online? Jamie, excuse me, Jamie. I'm just going to be honest with you. I can't see the screen very well with my glasses, and I can't see it at all without them. Thank you for being here today. If you would introduce yourself, and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Jamie Dublin. Thank you for letting me speak today. I'm here in support of S1282, and I'm here to ask that the committee do so too. 6 years ago, I found Kratom at a time I was searching for a more natural way to manage my ADHD. And with guidance and careful personal responsibility, I began taking small servings. And by keeping realistic expectations about what the plant can and cannot do, I was able to transition myself off of my prescription medication. For me, Kratom is about stability, consistency, and personal accountability. By keeping my serving size low and respecting the plant, it has been a very positive tool in my life. I ask that you please consider the people like me who have found benefit through careful consumer safety. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Okay, thank you for being here today. All right, our next testifier is Jeremy DeLuca. Is that online or is that? Thank you for being here today, Jeremy. If you would introduce yourself to the committee, and you have 2 minutes.
I'm Jeremy DeLuca. Madam Chair, members, thanks for having me. I've been an entrepreneur and a business person in Idaho for 30 years. Me and my brother founded bodybuilding.com, have employed hundreds, sold tens of millions of sports nutrition supplements worldwide. I've seen these products come and go in the world, in the U.S., and I've seen really not very many make the difference in people's lives that I see in Kratom. I've sold thousands of brands in the sports nutrition world, supplements, health, and everything, and the amount of difference that I've seen with natural product like Kratom is unbelievable. I am not a daily Kratom user. I use Kratom when I have pain. There's instances where I know it can help, but I'll use it here and there. Don't ever feel like there's any dependencies, don't feel like I need it. Just use it for the same thing I would go for pain relief or something like that, where I go to a doctor, I end up using Kratom. I see many consumers in the U.S. use it for so many other reasons, and just listen to their positive feedback. Just to get out of bed, do their daily activities. Others use it to improve focus, increase energy, manage PTSD, reduce anxiety, support overall well-being. The reasons vary, but the impact is real on these people. I understand that you hear all the negatives. I understand that you hear the cases out there. I understand the concerns that stem from adulterated and synthetic products like 7-OH. That is why we ask for you guys to support Bill 1282. We need regulation. It's important to establish reasonable regulation, safety standards, and protect consumers while preserving legal access to natural Kratom to consumers. I appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys support Bill 1282.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, thank you for being here today. All right, our next testifier is Morgan Walton. Hi, thank you for being here today. If you'll introduce yourself and who you represent, and you have 2 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Morgan Walton. I am a fourth-generation Idahoan, and I have worked in the kratom industry for over 4 years. I would like to thank you all for your time and willingness to hear us and listen to our perspectives. I am in full support of Senate Bill 1282 because I believe in regulation over prohibition. We all know somebody, a neighbor, a family member who struggles on a daily with chronic pain or severe anxiety. For many, every day is a struggle just to exist. While lab-created medications are often the first choice, we've seen the devastating dependency left in the wake of the opioid crisis. Kratom offers a vital and natural alternative. I fight for the protection because I've witnessed the benefits firsthand. Throughout my career, I've seen this plant restore the lives of thousands, from veterans finally finding peace to parents who can once again be present and active in their children's lives. I'm asking for your support in protecting this natural, God-given plant. By passing the Kratom Consumer Protection and Safety Act, we ensure that Idahoans have access to products that are tested, labeled, and safe. Let's continue to give our citizens the opportunity to thrive in their lives rather than just surviving them. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Hey, Senator Cole?
I have a question.
Would you come back, Morgan? You're just fine. Senator Cole?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, ma'am, for your testimony. Sorry I was a little late on the draw there. Since you're in the industry, it seems like there have been health effects on people. We have documentation here from, and obviously controversy revolving around whether it was the primary death, but there does seem to be documentation of deaths involving kratom. Can we narrow those associated deaths down to the use of 7-OH as opposed to natural leaf? We've heard testimony already today that some of the deaths at least seem to be related to natural leaf as well. So can you add some clarity there for me?
Ms. Walton?
Yes, thank you. Absolutely. I do believe the 7-OH side of things is a very slippery slope. The way that things are synthesized and brought to a degree that is very, it's in a very intense way, and it puts a very bad light on the natural leaf kratom. As far as the deaths relating to natural leaf kratom, I definitely think it goes back to Mac and him saying that, you know, the poly drug use within that. So as far as defining that, I think there is definitely a separation between the two, but depending on what is in, you know, their tox screens.
Okay, follow-up, Senator Cole?
Follow-up, thank you, Madam Chair. I have in our handouts, there's a letter from an MD, Shanti Sanchez, who says, I'm quoting the letter here, the reality in Bonneville County is that the standard leaf and powdered versions are proving to be just as lethal. Over the last 2 years, our community has seen a disturbing rise in fatalities directly linked to this substance. So I'm weighing that, and yet I'm hearing a lot of positive testimony as well. Perhaps, I guess, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Are you thinking that if we add regulation around even the sale of natural leaf, that some of those deaths could be reduced because perhaps there's less adulterated products?
Ms. Walton?
I think with proper testing and just the due diligence between the companies selling this kratom, there can definitely, you know, eliminate a lot of the, as quoted before, garage companies that could possibly put kratom in a more or less bad light for the quality of the kratom being produced to the consumer.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. All right, our next testifier is Tracy Basarichea. That would be an online testifier. Can you hear us?
I can hear you now. Thank you,
for
Madam Chair.
being here today. You have
Members
10
of the
minutes.
committee.
If you would introduce yourself.
I'm Tracy Bastrachea. I am representing the Idaho Chiefs of Police Association as well as the Meridian Police Department in opposition to this bill. We oppose this bill because we believe it does nothing more than dip our toe in leading the way for attempted legalization of other drugs. Kratom acts on the same receptors that opioids, causing physical dependence, causing withdrawal symptoms when someone tries to wean themselves off of it. And this bill does nothing but normalize something that is not approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for medical use or as a dietary supplement. I have their page up right here that says Kratom is not lawfully marketed in the U.S. as a drug product, a dietary supplement, or a food additive in conventional food. I, for one, do not go to the local gas station to get my medication or my health supplements. One of the problems we have with no real FDA control over this is there is no standardized dosing, there is no guaranteed purity or risk of other contaminants. And I also have to ask the question of who is going to check these products to make sure that they are what they claim that they are. We can sit here, we have these groups come from out of state over and over to try to promote these things in the state of Idaho. And I would just say this, you can ignore the parents who have lost their children, those who have suffered to kratom overdoses, ignore your coroners throughout the state of Idaho who have been sounding this alarm, and ignore your law enforcement professionals. And instead, you can listen to those who are looking to make a profit. I have personal experience with a friend who has suffered from the use of kratom to try and self-medicate his mental health. And every time he does that, he ends up on a mental hold.
Thank you for your time. Are there any questions? Senator Cole?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, sir, for your testimony. I'm just looking to drill down on this a little bit. Are you seeing this as a codification of the kratom itself, whereas it sounds like you're looking for more of a overall federal approach to this issue?
Chief Bastrachea?
If we wait for the, excuse me, Madam Chair, Senator, I would say this, if Idaho, and this is not the bill to do it, does not properly address kratom, we're going to continue to suffer what we're suffering if we wait for the federal government to do anything.
Follow up.
Follow up, Senator Cole?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, sir, for that. And just to drill down on your opinion, you believe the problem is not just spiked levels of 7-OH. You believe there is danger within the natural leaf extract itself.
Chief Bastrachea?
Madam Chair, Senator Cole. Yes, I do, because the problem that you have is it absolutely is addictive. And as any addiction, you have to continue to take more and more of the product, which then even in and of itself ends up spiking your levels.
Thank you. Senator Lakey?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Chief Bastrachea. Did you say that you're speaking on behalf of the Idaho Chiefs of Police on this issue?
I am.
And how was their vote in taking the position?
We were unanimous in, as far as the board goes, in taking a position of opposition, because we have seen the kratom overdoses, not just in Ada County, not just in Bonneville County, but in North Idaho as well, in the Coeur d'Alene areas. All of our areas of work have seen the result of kratom overdoses.
Is there a follow-up? Okay, thank you for being here today. All right, our next testifier will be Joshua Galupia. Hi, thank you for being here today, and I apologize if I ruined your last name.
No apologies necessary,
But
ma'am.
introduce yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
And you
I'm
have 2 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Joshua Gallipo. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I am here as a supporter of responsible regulation and consumer safety. Many people in our community rely on Kratom, and most effective path forward is not prohibition, but through thoughtful oversight that protects consumers while preserving access. Senate Bill 1282 strikes that balance. It keeps Kratom legal while establishing clear safety standards, quality controls, and accountability measures that help ensure products are tested, properly labeled, and kept out of the hands of minors. This kind of framework supports public health, gives regulators the tools they need, and provides consumers with confidence in what they're purchasing. Policies like S1282 recognize the reality of marketplace and focus on harm reduction rather than creating unintended consequences through bans. By supporting sensible guardrails, we can protect consumers, support responsible businesses, and maintain transparency across the industry. I support S1282 and encourage the committee to do so as well. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Senator Blaylock?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Joshua, did you, because I don't know how to say your last name or else I would try, did you say you work in the industry? Is that correct?
No, ma'am, I'm representing myself.
Okay, thank you.
No more questions. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, our next testifier is Danae Jones. Thank you for being here. If you would introduce yourself, and you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the committee. My name's Danae Jones. I'm here to oppose the bill. I'm here because natural Kratom took the life of somebody I love. On March 1st, 2025, Kylie died of acute metrogenic toxicity. The Bonneville County coroner confirmed Kratom as a cause of death and warned that natural does not mean safe. I also wanted to point out there were 2 different manufacturers here in Idaho that have had recent recalls on Kratom, and if it's safe, why would there be recalls? And their recalls weren't recent recall. They were recent recalls, but they were from 2019, 2020, 23. Why would it go back so far? Those products have already been used. Anyways, SB 1282 allows natural Kratom to remain legal. It means that the very product linked to deaths in Idaho and across the nation are still widely available. And some say that it's like coffee. It's not. Kratom acts like an opioid, and it works on the receptors, and it can be fatal. This bill gives the Kratom industry blanket immunity. Families wouldn't be allowed to seek justice if someone is harmed, and it prohibits private lawsuits. It limits penalties to $1,000 on a first violation. For $1 billion industry, that's nothing. So what is a life worth to you? $1,000? You know, when industry representatives, including somebody like Mac Haddow, they continue to conceal risks, they harm people, they protect profits, and this committee really should carefully consider and think about the consequences of granting this blanket immunity. So partial regulation is not enough. Idaho families really deserve full protection. So I just urge you to vote no and pursue a complete ban on natural Kratom. Kylie's death shows what happens when dangerous product remains legal. So I'm just here to make sure that doesn't happen to other people.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Are there, Senator Cole?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, ma'am, for your testimony. Our heartfelt condolences for your daughter. Did you bring up liability and immunity? Did you bring a civil cause of action against the distributor or the seller in that case?
I haven't. It wasn't for me. It was my niece. So I haven't sued anybody or done anything like that. But it takes away that right for the family. And why should that be taken away if they're doing something wrong? The only reason that they would put that in there is if they are doing something wrong, right? I mean, if they're not doing something wrong, they shouldn't be sued.
Any more
But-
questions?
Yeah,
Hey, thank you so much for being here today.
sure. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
we
you
will
for your
go
time.
on to Robert Ferris. Hi, thank you for being here today. If you'd introduce yourself, and you have 2 minutes.
Good morning, Madam Vice Chair and committee. My name is Robert Farias. I'm a Idaho business owner in the natural leaf kratom industry, and I support this bill. I'm also an Army veteran who served in the 321st Engineer Battalion here out of Boise, Idaho in Gownfield. As a veteran, I believe strongly in responsible regulation that protects consumers while preserving individual freedom and accountability. As a responsible manufacturer here in Idaho, we just don't adhere to the recommended FDA guidelines for herbal supplements. We actually have not one, but 2 FDA-registered facilities here that are also certified for good manufacturing practices. So we go above and beyond in terms of how we manufacture our products. The kratom market is not new to Idaho. It has almost existed for almost 20 years. It could be longer, but that's just based on my personal experience, going back to actually seeing it in market. The real issue isn't whether people will have access to these natural leaf kratom products. It's whether consumers are protected from unsafe or adulterated products. The main reason for being here and supporting this bill is to get elevated 7-hydroxy products off the market. If I believe they are worth defending, I'd be one of the first ones to say so, but that is natural leaf kratom, so this bill draws a clear line between natural leaf kratom products and synthetic or chemically altered products, and I believe that distinction matters. From an economic standpoint, this bill provides Idaho businesses with clarity and stability while also supporting jobs and meaningful tax revenue for the state. This legislation is balanced, safety-focused, that protects consumers, upholds product standards, and positions Idaho as a leader for the rest of the nation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Senator Cole? Oh,
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, sir, for your testimony. I want to talk about I want to call it immunity, but limitations of liability. Can you speak on that? Is there a need to limit liability in this case if someone feels that they have a case for civil action?
Ferris?
No, I think that, can you point to the section that you're referring to? Because I don't remember there being a clause specific that limited a manufacturer's liability.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm looking for it right now. It was brought up in previous testimony. Is there any form of limitations of liability in this? Last
Mr.
page.
Ferris? Oh, I apologize, Senator Cole, were you finished?
Page 4, line which? I'm looking for it.
Mr.
Line
Ferris?
14.
Can you,
I'll quote it. I apologize. Subsection B, a private cause of action is prohibited.
Mr. Ferris?
I don't know if that is actually limiting a manufacturer's liability. I believe that if someone has, a justified case and can use the courts at their disposal, there's nothing stopping people from doing that. I mean, us as a responsible manufacturer, we have product liability insurance, for our products that adhere to the same standards as every other supplement company. And that's not really, I guess, a question that I'd answer. If someone has their right to do that if they so choose to.
Senator Taylor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for your testimony. Thank you for your service. Just to be clear, did you say that you were using Kratom while you were in the service?
No, sir. I was just talking about, sorry. No, sir. I was just talking about how long the Kratom industry products have been here in Idaho.
Follow up?
Yeah, clarification. Your military service you had mentioned, correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ferris?
Oh, sorry. Yes, sir. I did mention my military service that I served here as an Army veteran here at Gownfield, the 321st Engineer Battalion, but I didn't mention that anything having to do with kratom usage during that time.
Thank you. Just clarification. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator Taylor. Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. All right, our next testifier will be Peyton Jones. Thank you, Ms. Jones, for being here. If you'll introduce yourself, and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Peyton Jones. I'm 17 years old. I'm here because a product labeled Natural Kratom stole my 23-year-old cousin Kylie from us. The coroner confirmed Kratom caused her death. Kylie trusted the Kratom industry and online voices claiming it was safe. She was wrong, and it cost her her life. This bill allows Kratom that killed Kylie to remain on shelves. Kratom is aggressively marketed to kids like me with colorful, eye-catching packagings disguised as energy drinks and painkillers. We know age limits don't stop underage drinking or smoking, so why would they work here? Why would you risk your own child's life on it? This bill shields companies from accountability, denying families like mine the justice they deserve. That's not protection, it's prioritizing industry profits over the lives of Idaho families. Kylie's death must be a turning point. I urge you to reject this bill and ensure no other family endures the devastating loss we have. Please protect our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Peyton. Are there any questions? Okay, thank you for being here. All right, our next testifier is Laura Romney, and it'll be virtual.
Okay.
Thank you, Laura,
Got
for
it?
being here. If you'll introduce yourself, and you have 2 minutes.
Yes. My name is Laura Romney, and I'm actually from Layton, Utah. And I'm testifying today because I am one of those people who Kratom has truly saved their life. I have a condition I've had for 14 years called trigeminal neuralgia. It's actually known as the suicide disease. And Kratom, after a myriad of terrible things like brain surgery and a stimulator in my face, I was put on a very small dose of pain medication. That was not enough. I was absolutely not functioning. I was desperate. And when I found Kratom, my life has changed. I've been taking it for 9 years every day, and it's absolutely given me my life back. I'm able to work, be a grandma, volunteer in the community, and just actually live again. I want to answer a few questions of what was brought up today. I have been about on the same dose for about 9 years. Again, very, very similar. I have not had to increase it as was talked about as far as tolerance goes. The other thing is it is not an opioid. Kratom does not suppress breathing at all. That is the 7-OH. So when you're seeing these overdoses that are reported from lawmakers and such, it is not natural Kratom. It is 7-OH. And 7-OH is a very unstable element. It actually leaves the body very, very quickly. And those, again, there's a lot of confusion there where people think it's Kratom, but it's really 7-OH. 7-OH is actually very, very dangerous, and I have never taken it and never will. There's no science behind it. There's a ton of science behind Kratom, and I wholeheartedly have researched it and believe it. Again, the opiate epidemic is in full swing. Literally, patients like myself are being abandoned. We have no options for pain control, and to be able to take away this alternative is devastating. It'll leave us with no options and no ability to be able to control our pain. So please, please support this bill. Support the most vulnerable people like myself, and those just like me. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, we have no questions. Thank you for being here. All right, our next testifier will be Tyson Baker. Thank you for being here, Tyson. If you'll introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Vice Chair, and to the committee. I'm Tyson Baker. I stand before you as a business owner of someone who's built multiple companies across many industries, all with one rule: do it right or don't do it at all. An educated person can make an educated decision, and the Kratom space for many manufacturers, wholesalers, distributors, retailers, customers, and most of the general community lack the understanding of what makes the industry safe. It starts with the business owners. Strict guidelines, morals, standards, GMP certification, and regulation. For far too long, this industry has had operators that treat the industry like the Wild West, putting questionable products in the market that are untested, unlabeled, unsafe, bad labs, and the list goes on. At risk are the consumers getting sick potentially and the trust collapsing. And responsible businesses, from the manufacturers to the retailers, suffer in these situations. Here's the fix. When businesses operate with the same structure of guidelines, when they put the customer first, not the quick buck, that's when the industry grows. That's when it thrives. Safety isn't a barrier or a burden. It's the foundation for longevity and for this Bill 1282. That's why Idaho needs Kratom Consumer Protection Act, the KCPA passed. It doesn't outlaw Kratom, it safeguards it, banning 7-hydroxy and other